Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this latest edition of RE058, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called The Mauling Incident, written by ForUseAtWorkx. Sergeant-at-Arms Quairiri made his rounds of the elite science fleet survey cruiser RE058. It was a boring task, but Quairiri wasn't the type to take any duty lightly. His exoskeleton was polished to the same gleam as his sidearm was, and his rank sash was straight and wouldn't dare to ever do something so unthinkable as to show a wrinkle or a stain. Neat, clean, and orderly. That was how Quairiri liked things. He automatically, mentally checked off the three things in his mind as he walked the passageways of the RE058, opening hatches, and visually inspected the contents of the chambers on his patrol route. The route and the chambers to be checked were, as well as the time to start his rounds, assigned randomly by the ship. A lazy crewman might have just gone through the motions, but Quairiri inspected each chamber like a drill instructor searching for a spot of dirt on a trainee infantryman's long gun, standing motionless, and each open hatch for a minimum of 27 seconds. Just as prescribed in the written procedure for the task. Even with the newly added human crew members, the big brain types on science fleet ships were more likely to send strongly worded messages with thinly veiled insults back and forth than to get up to more troublesome shenanigans. Shenanigans, he thought as he closed the hatch and moved along down the passageway. Now that was an entertaining human words. Quairiri was happy that he learned it from his conversations with the human engineer that everyone just called Skursky. Skursky told him that shenanigans meant silly or mischievous, high-spirited behavior. He said it was a word created to describe the actions of human miners during a primitive period in human history, when many of their males invaded the western area of one of their continents in a rush to find precious metals. Skursky had told Quairiri that humans had been toiling under harsh conditions, or that are isolated from the comforts of modernity for extended periods, often had a need to blow off steam. Quairiri had meant to follow up on that last part, but being familiar with human anatomy, he was concerned about when and where the steam might come out. Burns from steam, even with the protection of Itleep's exoskeleton, could be painful. Quairiri was almost done with his rounds when he opened the hatch to Engineering Access Chamber 6. He peered into the chamber, lit only with the dim light from computer terminals and indicators. Movement caught his eye. Then he heard soft thuds from the other side of the small workstation. Quairiri drew his sidearm and moved it from safe mode to heavy stun as he silently swept across the room. What he saw when he cleared the corner of the workstation wouldn't have surprised him more than if he found a spotted Ursa playing a tune on a dulcido. Engineer Skursky and a junior science officer named Irina Jones were mauling each other like a pair of lupars fighting over a freshly killed tester. Skursky and Irina Jones held up against the bulkhead as they pawed each other and grappled for holds, their mouths apart, smashing together as they sought to maul each other with their vicious enamel-covered bone stubs. Their visible skin was covered with salty liquid excretions, and their breathing was coming forth in heavy pants. A lesser Itleep might have been stunned by the vicious display of violence by what were supposed to be an advanced race. Quairiri was no hatchling recruit, though. By reflex, he raised his sidearm and sent 3-shot burst into the two combatants. They were so confused by their battle that they never even noticed him. The weapon's fire triggered the ship's internal sensors, summoning a full security team even before their limp bodies hit the deck. 30 minutes later, Quairiri, Skursky, Irina Jones, and both of their supervisors sat in a small conference room near Quairiri's office. Skursky and Irina Jones had recovered from the heavy stun blast almost as soon as they'd struck the deck. Quairiri mentally noted this fact. The stoic resistance of humans to stun weapons was something well known in elite security circles, but this was the first time he had witnessed it in person. After being separated and interviewed by a security team, the pair was moved to this room where the others were already waiting. Quairiri was both relieved and annoyed to learn that he had not witnessed the beginnings of a near-fatal melee, but a prelude to human mating. Quairiri noted that Irina Jones's visible skin had turned a bright shade of scarlet during her and Skursky's explanation of the incident. It made her look like a particularly scrawny ribrum grub. The supervisors chastised the pair for several minutes and assigned each primitive duties and temporary revocation of privileges, while Kawiri observed with the it-leave equivalent of a scowl on his countenance. Using a restricted maintenance area to do so during a duty shift broke more than a few regulations. Kawiri disliked non-adherence to regulations, more than he disliked the mandatory reports he would have to file for discharging his sidearm in the line of duty and to document this event. He was already beginning the report in his mind as the supervisors dismissed Skursky and Emily Jones, and the pair started towards the door. "Engineer Skursky," Kawiri barked before Skursky could exit the chamber, blocking in Arena Jones. "When I describe this in my report, does this fit the definitions of shenanigans?" asked Kawiri, slowly drawing out the pronunciation of the final word to ensure that it was correct. Engineer Skursky fell to the deck in barking laughter while clutching his abdomen, while Arena Jones, suddenly bright scarlet again, leapt over her fallen would-be mate and fled quickly out of sight. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.